You know, I've said this before. I'm an Avalanche fan. I'm a Pittsburgh Penguins enthusiast. And I'm also a big time Toronto Maple Leafs sympathizer. Why sympathizer? Because I hear a lot of people, all they do is make fun of the Leafs and mock them and say they're all they do is choke, ignoring the fact that the Edmonton Oilers exist, and you have fans of teams like the Canucks and even the Senators mentioning 1967. So I'm like, you haven't won the Cup since 1967. At least they've won because Ottawa, Vancouver, where are your cups? Oh, that's right, you don't have any. So everyone's favorite pastime in hockey is to make fun of the Leafs. And it's always when they play Boston that people make fun of the Leafs when they can't beat the Bruins. And this year, it looked bad. You know, they lost three out of the first four. They looked bad. But then they bettered themselves. Game 5, Game 6, they got the wins. Game 7, it was scoreless throughout most of it. Then they scored first. But they couldn't enjoy that lead as they tied up right then. Game went to overtime. Now, I figured Toronto would do it because this is different. The Leafs are better. This is the Bruins teams that played Boston since 2013. This team is as good as those teams. Toronto's going to do it. Then David Pastrnak decided to be a thing. So Boston's moved on. They managed to avoid embarrassment again. What would have been the second straight round of embarrassment, and they eke out an overtime win in Game 7. As for the Leafs, what do they do now? If you ask any Leaf fan with an earshot, they got to fire the coach. I kind of think so too, but they've got a two he's got a 2-year extension. Keith does. He's got a 2-year extension. So, but I've been told they can still can him. Some people say they should trade Marner. That could be a big mistake. But something's got to change. They have a pretty interesting offseason ahead of them. I should say another interesting offseason. I'm going to say this. I do think the Leafs will rebound from this and advance like they did last year. I see a lot of good things for Toronto. This team is good. They'll get it together. They just need to, fix a few things. And don't make any drastic moves. Please don't. Just maybe fire the coach if you have to and probably fix the goaltending issue. That's it. Fix those things. I see big things ahead. It was an amazing Game 7. I kind of knew it would be close because, it's Game 7. But Boston took it, and now they're going to face Florida. But the first round is not over. Not yet, anyway. There's still one more piece of the puzzle, and that puzzle can be filled in tomorrow. Tomorrow's an interesting day because it not only ends round 1, it begins round 2. And even more interesting, the second round begins before round 1 ends. Early tomorrow, we get Game 1 of the second round series in the Metro between the Hurricanes and the Rangers. Of course, the Rangers have the home ice advantage. Of course, the Rangers they swept Washington to get to this point, while Carolina beat the Islanders to reach the second round. And this is a rematch of the second round series they had 2 years prior, which the Rangers won. We all remember the home team won every game until Game 7. And that was the the Rangers trouncing Carolina in Raleigh. So that's how that series went. Will it be different? We'll find out. And after that, round one finally ends. Game 7 between the Dallas Stars and the Vegas Golden Knights in Dallas. Whoever wins faces us, faces the Avs in that second round in the Central. Of course, Dallas is looking to finish off at home, while and if that happens, it will be the second straight year that the defending champions get beaten round one, and in a game 7 no less, just like last year. But yeah, so that's what's in store for us tomorrow. So that is my recap of game 7 between Boston and Toronto. Boston did it. They faced Florida, and Toronto, well, they got to do a little more retooling. If you like this video, click the like button. If you're on YouTube, click subscribe if you want more. If you're on TikTok, feel free to hit that follow button. My story about the Leafs is featured. Check it out where you can. I'll be back to recap tomorrow's games and maybe give a preview of sorts of round 2 overall. So stay tuned.